Hey, what's going on, guys? Punji here, and welcome to a little special video on my channel. Comes around once a year, but if you were unaware, today's my birthday. I am now 17 years old. It's kind of crazy to think about. I'm not like old or anything, but 17 years, that's like, it's crazy to think that, I've been on this planet for 17 years. I've somehow managed to survive for 17 years, but yeah, today's my birthday, and it's always been during spring break. It's just kind of weird. My birthday, April 7th, it's just always during spring break, so I guess that's kind of cool. I can just have the day to myself and with my friends and family, just kind of chill. I don't have school to worry about today. I don't have homework to do. Just spring break. It's nice. It is nice. But I guess today it's just gonna kind of be or this video is just kind of gonna be a ramble of my thoughts. Kind of, maybe a little bit of inspiration. I don't really see it as inspiration. Just kind of a random jumble of thoughts. But before I begin, I do want to thank you all for 23,000 subscribers. We hit that about 2 days ago, I believe. So I do want to thank you guys for that. And I'll touch on that subject a little bit later. But, I kind of just want to get into maybe thinking about life as a birthday and whatnot. Because now that I'm 17, I have a lot of responsibilities I have to take care of. Next year I'm heading off to college. And that's just weird to think about. I still think back to the days where I was in middle school, a really carefree life, not really much to worry about. And once you're in high school, you have just so much to think about, your future, this stuff, that stuff. And I don't know, as I've grown older, and I tend to have these moments of self-reflection. It could just be me, but as I've grown older, I've started to think a lot more about what's made me into the person I am today. So, for example, there's always going to be those moments where, I'm proud of, stuff I've done in the past where I'm like, hey man, good job. And there's also going to be those parts where you're like, you screwed up, like those moments of regret and like, you didn't do so well. But you also have those moments of like achievement and your moments you're proud of. So nonetheless, whether they're moments of, success or failure, I feel like it's what makes you today. It's what makes you into the person you are today. And I think the best examples I can think of are like, for example, let's say you have this test to study for like the SAT or whatever. Like personally, I feel like I could have done a lot better if I just studied better, maybe not procrastinated, stuff like that, And I look back at it now, I'm like, I was really stupid. Like, why did I choose to do this over that, And now it's too late to do anything about it because it was the past. And another example, I guess, is, back in middle school, we all have those, middle school crushes and whatnot. And in middle school, I was a really extremely shy person, actually, a lot more than I am now. And I was always too afraid to just talk to the girl. And I look back at it now, like, I was such a like, I don't know, it's frustrating because you're like, like, if I could go back now, like, I would totally change it, but you can't. It already happened. And I think it's important to embrace it. You might not like looking at the past. It's kind of a bitter memories and whatnot. But it's important to cherish it. And, I do recommend you all read this book. It's by Gunter Grass. He's German, so I apologize for the, like, name slandering. But Gunter Grass. It's called The Tim Drum. And if you're under 13, it might be a little bit inappropriate. But you should be fine. I mean, it's not that bad, but I don't know. I found it really insightful because I don't really want to spoil the book, but it's all about just embracing your past and kind of, despite the bad deeds, the bad stuff you've done, it's always in time to change. Is basically what the book was trying to say. Like, it's never too late to like revert back to the good path, and like you should always try to embrace your past, learn from it, because it's what makes you are today. And I feel like that really inspired me to, kind of think about this especially. And, just kind of not take the past for granted. And, I know now that, with this YouTube thing, I'm not really getting the amount of views that I used to get. And that's okay with me. I'm fine with just entertaining the 10, the 20 of you that are still watching. Like, YouTube for me, it's always been a hobby. Like, if I was in my 20s and this was my job, I'd be freaking out right now because, I'm not earning much. But, it's just a hobby for me, like when I'm tired of school, when I have nothing to do, when I just kind of need a detachment from the struggles of life, the strifes of life, I find recording Minecraft, you know, just having fun, playing games and stuff, it really helps. It really does help. And, you know, a lot of you see YouTube as like, oh, I want 1 million subscribers and whatnot. And like, I don't know, I just see it as, you know, it's just a hobby. You know, whether I make it big one day or not, whether, you know, I earn a lot of money or not, all of that really doesn't matter to me. You know, the money thing is just kind of like, hey, you know what, I'm doing something I love. Here's a little, like, I don't know, like a reward, I guess. I don't know. But, I don't know, like, as much as I find YouTube as a hobby, I don't take any of this for granted, you know? And, like, whether you've subscribed since, I don't know, my Club Penguin days, you know, whether you subscribed today, yesterday, 2 years ago, 5 months ago, thank you, because at one point or another, you decided it was worth it to hit that subscribe button, and I really do appreciate that. I really don't take it for granted, and it's kind of weird to just think that, you know, 23,000 people around the world at one point or another found me interesting enough to click subscribe. And I don't know, I've never really made that impact in life before, and that's one of the things where, you know, in those times where I'm like, oh, you know, I screwed up, like, why is life so hard, whatever, you know, I think it's important in those times to just think back and be like, you've done good in the world, you know, you've done good, you've done some good things in life and whatnot. So I don't know, I feel like it's just very, very important to do so. And you shouldn't be afraid to recognize that, you know, if you've done something bad in the past, own up to it, you know. There's no need to be, like, ashamed of it, hide from it, because, you know, like, for example, there's moments where, you know, I look back, the girl I wanted to talk to, like, 5 years ago, couldn't do it. The test that I wanted to do really well on, I decided to procrastinate on it. And, you know, I look back on it now and I'm like, I'm an idiot. But, you know, embrace it. It's what made you the person you are today. And, you know, it's important. It is important, I think, to just, you know that you've done good in the world. Know that, you know, in those moments where you're like, you know, you're struggling and stuff, know that you've done good. You know, you've done good in the world. You're not, you know, completely worthless. You know, you are worth something. So that's just kind of my thoughts. I know I kind of repeated a lot of stuff I said, but nonetheless, I hope you guys took something away from this. Oh yeah, one more thing. It just randomly popped in my head. You know, as I've also grown older, I've realized how short life is. You know, this kind of relates itself to what I was talking about earlier, about how just not to live life with regrets, because I've had my fair share of regrets in life. You know, there are a lot of things, especially from my high school years onward, there were a lot of things that I wish I could have changed, a lot of things I wish I could have gone back, told myself, like, you know what, this is important, you need to not screw this up. And, you know, back then, you know, immature, trying to discover who I was, and, you know, just didn't really do that well. And, you know, and you think of it on, like, the grand scale of things, and, you know, you think about how, you know, there was the Gettysburg Address about 300 years ago. The world went through 2 global world wars. You had the American Civil War, Revolutionary War, and you think back even further to, you know, like, the earliest seeds of civilization, you know, like Mesopotamia, Egypt, Greece, Romans. And you think back, like, how your life is just, it's so short. It's so short. You know, the average human lives maybe about 70 to 80 years. You know, some of us lucky ones live to like 90, 100. Some of us die earlier. And, you know, so I say the average is about 70 or 80, but you know, life is short. You know, I'm already 17. That's, you know, maybe a tenth, about a tenth, or maybe a third, or I don't know. I'm bad at math, but, you know, a good portion of, you know, life is over. And he's like, you know, I'm already 17. Next year, heading off to college. You know, 4 more years in college. Gonna be 20-ish, early 20s. Gonna be looking for a job, and hopefully get married, get kids. It's crazy to think about, you know, just how quickly life progresses. And, you know, and when you're a kid and people tell you that, you know, high school goes by super quickly, like, you don't believe it, but it really, really does, you know? I feel like life went by so much slower when you were a kid. When you were in middle school, elementary school, life was just, it's so carefree. Every day was just an adventure. It just went by so slowly. And nowadays, it goes by so quickly. Like, I can't believe we're already in April this year. It's already April, guys. Like, it was just 2015. It's already April. Like, what the heck? Like, I don't know, guys. 4 months have already passed in 2015. It's kind of scary to think about, like, just how quickly time flies, you know? And I think back to, you know, those days where I used to make Club Penguin videos. It's been like 2 years already, 3 years. It's It's absolutely insane, and the amount of things that change in 3 years, you know? 3 years ago, I was still an 8th grader. I was still enjoying life as a middle schooler, you know? Now I'm already in like a junior in high school. Gonna be a senior next year. I don't know, it's crazy to think about, you know, how quickly life passes, how quickly time flies. And because of that, I feel like it's important to cherish the moments, you know? Don't live life with a bunch of regrets, you know? Don't you know, live and, you know, like maybe 2 years down the road be like, oh, I regret not doing that mistake, you know? I regret not, you know, for example, asking this girl out to prom. I regret not being there for my friend, or what, you know, stuff like that. Just those moments, those really important moments where you decided not to do something, you chickened out, you couldn't do it, you decided not to do it. And nowadays, I'm like, it's important, you know what? Embrace those moments. Don't YOLO. I mean, I guess YOLO's a good slogan. It's like you only live once, because you do only live once, but at the same time, YOLO is also one of those things that it could get you killed, you know, if you're too careless about it, you know. Like, oh, I see like 5 cars down the street, YOLO. Like, don't do that. That's stupid. But the thing to take away from YOLO, I guess, is just, you know, you only live once. Enjoy life as it is, you know. Don't be afraid to do the things you want to do, because you only have one life to live here. And if you're always too afraid to take the chances, take the opportunities you have that are in front of you, you're never gonna get anywhere, you know. So those are just kind of my inspirations, my, I guess, life lessons from a 17-year-old. I don't know, guys. I'm just kind of rambling. It's really early in the morning. Gotta get this video up. Gonna go spend the day with a couple friends. You know, gonna go eat dinner with my family later at night. A nice family dinner, and that's probably about it. Not really sure how long I'm gonna be spending the day with my friends either. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I honestly just kind of rambled. Thank you guys again for 23,000 subscribers. I don't take any of that for granted. And yeah, you know what? If you guys are on spring break, whatever, enjoy life. You know, the ones that are younger, appreciate life. You know, don't, again, just kind of take something away from, you know, the stuff I've talked about today. But nonetheless, thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Take it easy.